In the dark hours of a February night in 2016, as Bangladesh's capital city of Dhaka slept, invisible intruders were orchestrating what would become one of history's most audacious cyber heists. Inside the Bangladesh Central Bank's computer systems, malicious code silently pulsed through the network, preparing to execute a theft of unprecedented scale. The Bangladesh Bank, like many central banks worldwide, held billions in foreign currency reserves at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. These accounts, linked through the SWIFT global banking network, represented the lifeblood of international finance. But on this night, that vital system would become a weapon in the hands of sophisticated cybercriminals. The attackers had done their homework. They knew that banking hours in New York overlapped with the weekend in Bangladesh, a perfect window of opportunity. They had also infected the bank's systems with custom-made malware that would hide their tracks and prevent the printing of transaction records. At 8:36 p.m. New York time, the first fraudulent transfer request reached the Fed systems. Then another and another. In total, the hackers submitted 35 transfer requests totaling nearly $1 billion. Their plan was breathtaking in its ambition to siphon vast sums of Bangladesh's national wealth into a web of accounts across Southeast Asia. The first 4 transfers, totaling $81 million, went through smoothly. The money was routed to accounts at the Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation in the Philippines. From there, it disappeared into the country's murky casino industry, where strict anti-money laundering laws didn't apply. But then fate intervened.
Foundation? That's odd.
A 5th transfer request for $20 million to a supposed Sri Lankan non-profit called the Shalika Foundation raised red flags.
We need to review these transactions immediately. There's a typo in one of them.
This simple typo triggered a closer review, and the Fed began blocking the remaining transactions. Meanwhile, in Bangladesh, bank officials were flying blind. The malware had disabled their printer system, preventing the automatic generation of transaction records.
We're missing all the transaction records. We can't see what's been happening.
When employees finally realized something was wrong, the damage was already done. The investigation that followed revealed layers of sophistication that stunned cybersecurity experts.
These attackers had intimate knowledge of both the SWIFT system and Bangladesh Bank's internal procedures. They compromised the bank's network months earlier, quietly studying patterns and security measures.
They even knew how to bypass the Fed's security protocols.
But who were these phantom thieves?
The digital trail led us down several paths. North Korean state hackers emerged as prime suspects with similarities noted to other attacks attributed to the notorious Lazarus Group. Others pointed to insider involvement, noting the precision timing and detailed knowledge of banking procedures.
In the Philippines, authorities tracked some of the stolen funds through a complex web of transfers and currency exchanges. Much of the money had passed through several casinos, where it was converted into chips, played at tables, and then cashed out, a classic money laundering technique.
We've identified several individuals involved with the funds. Despite our efforts, the masterminds remain elusive. We need to dig deeper into their network.
Despite identifying several individuals involved in handling the funds, the masterminds remained elusive. The heist exposed critical vulnerabilities in the global banking system. SWIFT, long considered the fortress of international finance, was revealed to have weaknesses that could be exploited.
Could it happen again? That's the question keeping us all up at night. We're dealing with a new evolution in financial crime.
No longer did bank robbers need guns or explosives.
With enough skill and inside knowledge, billions could be stolen through keyboard strokes and clever code.
The digital age had given birth to a new breed of bank heist.
We need to stay ahead of the curve to protect our financial systems.
A chilling reminder of our financial system's vulnerability in the digital age. 5 years later, most of the stolen $81 million remains unrecovered. The Bangladesh Bank managed to retrieve only about $15 million, leaving a $66 million hole in the nation's reserves. Legal battles continue, with the bank filing lawsuits against various entities involved in the theft's aftermath.
The case has sparked a revolution in cybersecurity practices.
Banks have implemented stricter authentication procedures for large transfers. SWIFT has enhanced its security protocols and created a dedicated customer security program.
But as defenses evolve, so do the attackers' methods.
Perhaps most disturbing is what the heist revealed about the vulnerability of financial institutions in developing nations.
While major banks in wealthy countries can afford state-of-the-art security systems, smaller central banks often rely on outdated technology.
This disparity creates weak points that sophisticated attackers can exploit. The Bangladesh Bank Heist stands as a watershed moment in the history of cybercrime. It demonstrated that in our interconnected financial system, a breach in one location can have global ramifications. It showed that traditional concepts of bank robbery have been rendered obsolete by technology. And most importantly, it proved that in the digital age, the biggest threats to financial security might not come from armed robbers, but from shadowy figures wielding malware and intimate knowledge of banking systems.
We're still chasing digital ghosts, trying to piece together the puzzle. Our defenses must evolve faster than the threats we face.
Today, as investigators continue to chase digital ghosts and banks fortify their defenses, the Bangladesh Bank Heist serves as a sobering reminder of our financial system's vulnerability. The case remains unsolved, its perpetrators free to plot their next move. In the end, it's not just a story about stolen money. It's a warning about the evolving nature of crime in our increasingly digital world.